Alright, to check up 6 months after the surgery. I'm on blood thinners now, going forward for the rest of my life. So you got to do a blood thickness test called an INR every so often to keep your warfarin in check. So today we're going to show you part of my procedure to do that. Biggest thing is do it. I like it done in the morning and then call it in, and then they can make an adjustment if needed to be. But we went with a portable device, and it cost us some money out of pocket, but the convenience is so much nicer than trying to go to a clinic and sit at the pharmacy or the lab to get tested in a lineup, especially nowadays.
With COVID.
You got to make an appointment and everything. It just turns into a very time-consuming day. Now this one here usually is done in like 15 minutes. My blood doesn't flow very good to my fingertips, or they're too tough. They don't like to bleed very good, so I usually grab a hot glass of water and keep shaking it down. That's why I got the cup of water here. It's warm. But you can do it with one person. It's a Coaguchek Xs machine. It's just pretty simple. It's almost like the guys with sugar diabetes. You got your machine and you get a little strip you put in there, and then you put a drop of blood on it. But make sure it's a really good drop of blood. This machine really likes lots of blood.
It's not like diabetes. Diabetes, you don't need as much blood. With the INRs, you need a little bit more blood. They say ladybug size drop of blood.
So we're going to walk you through this, and hopefully we get a good reading. These strips here are $10 a strip. So you want your test to go good. We probably wasted $70 already learning how to do this, so we get a good result every trip.
We went to the pharmacy to go to your pharmacy if you're having trouble with it. Good advice would be to go to your pharmacy and have them walk you through it and do a test right there with it. That way you know what you're doing, because like you said, we spent $70 to get a bad report and error every time, and we're just like, okay, well, this is not right. Maybe the strips are bad. But they weren't bad. We just weren't getting enough blood draw. Like we said, these take a lot more blood than a regular diabetes. So if you're having trouble, good advice would be to go to your pharmacy
where you bought the machine,
and where you bought the machine, and have them walk you through it, because that's what they're there for, and they want to help.
So yeah, we got the machine, the strips. We'll get one of them out in a minute, and then you gotta. They send you with a nice little puncture pin.
Lance.
You get all the little bits. Or you can get the bulk ones like this at the drugstore, or different kinds. We're going to use all these up because they came with the kit. And so basically you pop the end off. You got your old one in here. You pull it out. Put your new one in and take the top off, just to twist off, and put it on the end of your other one. So no one gets pricked. And put your cap back on. Make sure it clicks. I had to go to number 5 for penetration. Oh well, been a mechanic most of my life, so I got still pretty good calluses on my fingertips. So it takes a number 5 setting to get good penetration. So I'll get, I'm going to finish warming up my hand here, Tina can show you how to turn it on and put a strip in, and then we'll do a finger poke.
Make sure your hands are washed and clean.
When we start this up, they're going to want a code to match the strips. The code number will be on the container. That code number, this was a 415. So you're going to have to push that into the machine once it asks for it. That way it recognizes the strips. And the problem is these strips are limited time usage. So don't buy a whole big bulk of them when they're on sale. We got carried away when we bought this because we didn't know how many tests we were going to have to do, but I settled out pretty good. So
Right, you've been good.
I might have to throw a bottle away, which is about $70 or $80 in a bottle. So once they expire. So there is an expiry date on these, so be very careful when you're buying them.
They come, I believe they come in 12 and 24. Something like that. I think 10, 12, and 24 is how they usually go, is what we found. So I'll just wait till he's ready and figures his blood's going to flow pretty good. One suggestion we were given by the pharmacy, because he doesn't, was to grab a glass of hot water and warm up his hand, and then he usually taps it and hangs it so that it'll...
Don't put blood on your strip until you're sure, because if it sees blood and there's not enough, that's $10 shot.
It's an error. It comes up error, and that's what we were doing at first. That's why if you're having problems, go to the pharmacy. For your pharmacy, we go to the medicine shop, and our pharmacy, she's more than willing and able to help. She's really, really good.
Alright, so there's an on in memory, so it's pretty simple. The directions are, the book's about that thick, but it's like probably 10 languages, and your section probably maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, and it's pretty good. So, and there's lots of other videos on YouTube also, so this is kind of an experience which you're going to have to live with, a mechanical valve replacement for the rest of your life. So on, battery, so now it's asking for a strip to be inserted.
And you got to be very careful when you're doing these strips. Like I just wash my hands. You don't touch the end because it's very like it's digital, so don't, be very careful not to touch your ends or anything. They come in this way, so they come out, but here's where your blood draw goes in. Yeah, so
it's sucked up.
Sucked up. But it takes, like I said, a lot of blood for your INRs. Okay, it's in. So 415.
Remember that passcode, 415, yes.
I press yes. And then we're waiting for the timer. That's when he knows to prick his finger.
Close to the edge so you can get your finger.
We just found little tricks that work really good for us.
And then you get a counter, 180 seconds. So push your clicker, and there's another button on the side, and just find whatever finger your figure is going to work the best. You can use the same one, and then flick, and then you hope for enough blood. You don't want to push it too hard, because then you pinch the blood off. You just want to keep working it. Just keep working it nice and soft.
Hang it down. Don't worry about the camera. Hang her down. Make sure you...
It's coming. You want a good size male ladybug on the end of your finger. And you're going to put it right over this little strip where it asks for it. Just before it's ready to fall off your finger. That's usually a good tall tale sign.
He holds it there until it draws in.
And it will indicate blood. Quality check. QC means got enough. And you wait for it to do its thing. So now I'm a 1.9. So I'm a little low, so they're probably going to bump me again on the warfarin. They like to see a 2 to 2.5 normally. With this new style valve I can go under 2, but they don't like it under 2, just as a medical preference, I guess. They find a
reaction time. If you wind up getting cut or bleeding.
They just don't want your blood to clot from being too thick, and they don't want it to be chances of bleeding out if it's too thin. So you always got to check it when they ask you, or if you feel like you did something, like ate something or over-exercised. It can really change the number. Or new medication, they always like to know if you're on new medication, and so it all affects your blood thickness. So anyway, that's just what you got to do when you get a mechanical valve replaced. I'm going to show you my pacemaker black box next. I'm picking that up on November the 3rd. So I'll run a little video on that when I get it home, so they can monitor me remotely from Edmonton to wherever I go with the black box. They can check me and make sure it's working good.
And I have the number, which I call in his number for the day, and then they adjust it. And he'll probably have to do another 2 weeks, I'm sure, because it's a little low today, like he said. So yeah, I'm going to call it in, and then they'll call back with the results. And just see what our new adjustment is. Usually he's been staying really steady. They're really happy with how his INRs have been going, but yeah, as he heals and gets more active, things do change, and we just go from there.